we go the distance as the teams have traded maps. And Na'Vi, to be fair, just got spanked on Overpass. So towards Train will move. We'll have to see if Heroic can continue the Juggernaut down the tracks or if Na'Vi will get the win as most people anticipated. I feel like it's safe to say if Heroic did actually beat Na'Vi here, it would be a pretty big upset.
I mean, you definitely wouldn't expect it. Obviously, Na'Vi bringing in Electronic, probably the biggest talent in the CIS region. You expect them to do great things. Obviously, it's still early days, though, and that's what you have to consider if they were to go down here, that they still have a lot to improve upon. But yeah, no, I would still call it an upset. You expect a team like Na'Vi to make it through to semifinals in not too much, of a troubled fashion. But here we are going into Train. It's obviously a map that Heroic are very familiar with. And honestly, the Na'Vi lineup, they've played Train a couple of times with their new lineup, but it hasn't necessarily given them the success they would have liked to seen. They pretty much have one victory on the map, and that's versus Big in Pro League. Outside of that, they've actually suffered a loss to Heroic on the very map. So definitely going to be an interesting matchup here going into this, and I'm kind of leaning towards Heroic at this point.
Really? So you think Heroic might be able to get rid of the beast that's simple? He's so animated in his expressions there. Looked like he was surprised and also a little bit excited.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, even though Simple was the top fragger for Na'Vi in that previous match, we didn't really see a whole lot coming out of Na'Vi. So, what did those frags actually do for your team? Did they necessarily impact enough to actually give you rounds? And the answer is no. And we need to see more like Simple from yesterday, and obviously not necessarily where he has to get a 30+ kill death ratio for it to happen, but we need to see him have more impact early on, I think, in the game. And I think for Na'Vi, they need to stay away from these force buys. Like every now and again, I think it's perfectly fine to get an AK on Simple and just go with that, see what it's able to come out of it, but don't do it multiple rounds in a row, because Heroic got off to such a great start on that first half that there was really no looking back from that point on.
And I believe it was Pimp that said yesterday, and I certainly agree with him, that to be a good Train team, you really need to have a good AWP.
Yeah.
You need to have your AWP having a solid performance. Now, Yugi didn't necessarily have the best of overpasses, but he wasn't really required to. Typically, the players that were playing aggressive were getting frags. Yugi was just living off scraps. So I don't think you can really base his performance off that. But Simple's consistently been good. I think the issue, though, with Simple is that even though he gets a lot of frags, not all of them are with the AWP. He is just as good with an AK-47. He is just as good with an M4. So it kind of pads his stats a little bit in that respect. He's not constantly AWPing. He's not only a one-trick pony.
It also makes it a bit tougher for Na'Vi to kind of figure out how they want to approach it. Do they want to have Simple being pretty much the steadfast AWPer on a map like Train, or do they actually want his explosiveness with the rifle as well? Depending on what kind of bomb site you actually prefer to go to or how you approach it. One is going to be more beneficial than the other, and that's where you want to find some consistency in what you're doing, and obviously it's going to be interesting to see how they play around that. But they still obviously have the players capable of doing big things. Electronic is one player that's usually really, really strong on a map like Train, and we haven't really seen too much of him as of yet in this best of 3. So it would be a great time for him to kind of come online and showcase why he's been brought in to Na'Vi, because it's obviously the biggest name you can get in the entire region. So it's no small feat to make it this far.
I believe that both teams now in this event are pretty much even in terms of how many pistols they've won. I believe Na'Vi may have one more pistol victory than Heroic, but it's not a landslide in either way. That's one hell of a start, though. S-Attack with 2 kills and Yugi with 1, and the bomb has been dropped outside of Ali. This is a nightmarish start for Na'Vi in this pistol. Even if they get kills elsewhere on the map, I mean, there's no reason to move this triple threat on the bomb away from Heroic's perspective. All the pressure now on Flamey. And with his Glock, he may be able to find the kill onto Snappy, who's been dropped to 25. Will finish off what he started and can trade across, of course, to the USP, which is going to be a nice bonus. He does have time to work with 2, as it has been a very chaotic start to the pistol. But when you just look at the positions that Heroic are assuming, how does Flamey get anything done here?
That's a good question right there. There's no way you should be expecting Madi to be in the kind of position he is. Just trampling about. He knows that time isn't playing him any favors at this point either. Yeah, kind of checks the angle. Oh, actually, does get the drop on Madi. Actually going to remove him as well, taking minimal damage as well. Still a long way to go though, and the crossfire is set up.
I feel like Modi peaked out a bit too early. He could have just played more time. He knows that his other teammates are on IV. He knows that it's not going to be a quick rotation to get back round through outside there. I think he's just given Flamey a real shot at maybe clutching this, but Yugi's not going to allow him to do so. 2 kills for Yugi, and also to ASTRO will secure the pistol. Nice try from Flamey, but not quite good enough.
Oh. Heroic get off to a wonderful start here. Definitely what they wanted. And we did see what they were able to do with a strong start on Overpass as well. And one of the nice things for Heroic, really, if you look back at their previous matches, it's not necessarily one person who has to go off. You mentioned this, that to be a consistently good trained team, you need a strong offer, but it hasn't necessarily been Yugi who's been delivering at any given match on train that Heroic has had. Snappy's had great games, Maudi's had big ones, Nico as well, and we saw Nico really coming into his own and Overpass as well. So a lot of people who can actually deliver the goods for the Danes here. And if you're going up against a guy like Simple, you kind of need everyone to contribute.
The easy pickings for Yugi and Nico. And a clean sweep, not even a single point of health lost by Heroic, so about as good as you could ask for. That was ultimately a complete throwaway round though for Na'Vi. And they come through into this round with mid-3000s, so they can go for the purchase. They've got 2 AK-47s.
So even without a bomb plant, opting to go with this buy. And we talked about how on Overpass, these constant aggressive buys didn't really do them a whole lot of favors. Losing around like this, where you don't really have too much utility to work with, can get really hairy. We'll see how it pans out, though. Molotov in the hands of Zeus. They have enough smokes to cover up the entire inside if they chose to do so. And Simple's going to find the early frag on Snappy, too. Nico, though, not backing down.
Oh, and that's why 2 kills. Sure, he goes down eventually, but really that's the best he could have hoped for. He was totally screwed there in the smoke. So 2 kills. Information gathered. Bomb was also dropped. The problem for Heroic at this point, though, is not putting all of your eggs in this B basket, because there's still enough time for Na'Vi to even rotate all the way back towards the T spawn and get into A main. They don't even need it, though. Flamey's going to pierce the head of ASTRO with a precise shot delivered first class from his AK-47. Modi with his UMP is now going to try and put a cat amongst the pigeons, and he's got 1 kill, but no more. Bomb planted, and Yugi with just a flashbang is going to try and push onto the site and claim the kills onto both Edward and Flamey. And to make matters worse, Edward's actually perched up, but he's by himself now, and he doesn't have a Molotov either. So if Yugi tickles the bomb, he could maybe land the headshot and get this round clutched after all. Now he's going to pick up a defuse kit, halving the time that he needs to stay on the bomb for. There's the tap, he spins around, and Edward's whiffed his chance. The time is still ticking away, and Edward has just about done enough to get Na'Vi this round, but Jesus, that was way, way closer than it needed to be.
It definitely was. Edward nearly dropping the ball there. That just does enough to kind of stay alive, not by, you know, his own strength. That was just unfortunate for Yugi to not be able to connect enough bullets there to end it. And if he goes down there, then all of a sudden we're looking at Heroic with 3 rounds. Still very expensive, though, for Na'Vi. End up losing every player on their side, so replenishing is not going to be optimal. Obviously, Galil on Electronic, not that many needs to speak of. No Molotov this time around either. So, still not easy fought. And this time we have an AWP in the hands of Yugi as well, and no more UMPs, even though they did a great job in the previous round. Always better to have that rifle in hand.
Curious to see as well as these T rounds progress from Na'Vi. If they decide to keep Simple on AKs, does that indicate we're going to have more set plays, more aggressive pushes to the likes of outside and inside? It's very possible. Having an AWP definitely helps, but you can still get the job done with good smoke executes.
Definitely can, and Na'Vi once more want to test the strength of this inner bomb site. There are 2 players on Heroic's end, though, already posted up. The rotations are pretty far away, actually. So need to do a lot of damage here on this Danish side.
That flashbang perfectly neutralizing any potential play, and Nico can't track good enough with his M4. Doesn't matter how many bullets he had in the magazine, he was missing almost everything. And now with the bomb planted and flashbangs forcing Modi back towards the catwalk, the positions that Na'Vi are in are looking so strong, almost unbreakable at this stage. Someone's going to have to bust out a sledgehammer and start knocking this wall down.
It's going to be so tough to do. Nice smoke, though, to cover off any sort of helpful angles that Electronic had from his teammates, and Maudie follows that up with a shot on Simple. Gets taken down through the smoke as well on Flamey. Zeus all by his lonesome. Hasn't made his presence, notified to any of the one on Heroic. He drops down, not able to get the fire shot off. Will end Zeus's life, but once more, time's not in his favor. And that really got hairy for Na'Vi once more.
Yeah, I mean, I said they had to knock the wall down. They definitely got a couple players through the wall. Didn't bother with a sledgehammer, just ran headfirst Juggernaut style. Yeah,
Maudie picking up that frag onto Simple, kind of opening up the site. Obviously, ASTRO finding Flamey through the smoke as well. To open things up. Well played by Zeus to buy enough time for his side, but look at again. Not the greatest of buys. Obviously, they know that Heroic's economy is not going to be in a great state, so that's why they can afford to go to these SMGs, but it's a much-needed break for them. Because having rounds where you survive with no one is obviously not beneficial in the long term. They still have an AWP on Yugi, though, and that can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they pretty much have to hope, though, that he gets at least a couple of kills. He has legged Electronic on the way across. You'll know by the blood spatter on the wall now. Get mollied out. Hop on the train using the smoke to extinguish the mollies. Picked up one, but the rest of his team are starting to fall around him. Very close to landing the shot through the smoke as well, which would have stopped the bomb plant. And now Zeus, with his Mach 10, can just charge straight down onto Nico. Frag goes his way, but he's got 3 health left. He doesn't want to overextend and give any possible way back into this round for Heroic. Even if they don't get the clutch, I mean, if ASTRO could just take a weapon out, it would be a solid outcome, really, all things considered. Speaking of ASTRO, I was going to say maybe he can get the drop on Zeus. If one bullet landed, Zeus was dead, so a bit awkward from ASTRO, but now Yugi has multiple angles to watch out for. He's about to get pushed on. He's just got such good no-scoping skills. I mean, you constantly see him land these shots, but that is the nightmare of having 2 players face you when you have an AWP.
It never happens to me when I play with an AWP. My no-scopes fly off the map.
Then again, I'm complete garbage at this game. That's probably why.
Yeah, there's probably a correlation between the two. Yugi definitely knows how to handle that green rifle. But Na'Vi are going to make it to 3 rounds. They do manage to stay alive with quite a few members as well, or that magical number 3. So, better buy coming up to this. Lots of Molotovs as well. Plenty of utility to work off of. On the side of Heroic, they still have an AWP in the hands of Yugi. No armor, though. And that lack of utility could come back to bite them. Really difficult to hold, especially if you're playing solo on the inner bomb side to be able to force anyone off. Same thing goes for Ivy, and Electronic is going to find ASTRO.
I like that he actually walked around the side, because you could see that ASTRO's crosshair was perfectly placed for head height.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that he'd actually be down towards a crouching angle. Now 2 nades going to fly their way to Yugi. That's done so much damage as well. 83 health lost in an instant. And there's the rest of the health plucked out from Electronic's headshot. So again, it's been a shady, rocky start for Heroic.
Yeah, just a little snappy with the aggressive movement. Has kind of cleared out white walls, which allows for Maudie to stay safe. Nico's going to find Electronic as he tries to finish his wraparound by old bomb train. But Heroic are in a pretty decent position to actually deny any sort of bomb plant. That molly is going to be tough to deal with for Maudie. Here comes Snappy with the long rotate.
Does give his position away instantly. Wanted the guaranteed frag. Some players would have actually bided their time a little bit longer. But he's going to get the second anyway, and that should be the round now. Flamey's got 1, but such low health, which will be eradicated from Nico. And we are going to be back even once again. This has actually been one of the closest starts to this best of 3 that we've seen. Both maps have been pretty one-sided to start things off.
Yeah, and hopefully that's the sign of things to come, because the 2 first maps really were showcases of one team showing up and another one not so much.
Absolutely.
So, bodes well in that sense. And Heroic playing that situation really well. One of the issues that Na'Vi ran into is that they funneled everyone on their side through Ivy, so they don't necessarily have any control over Yard, even though they've been able to find picks. So they have to spend more time actually clearing out all the bomb trains before they get the bomb down, and by that time it allows for Snappy to have that long rotate that eventually wins Heroic the round. Now back to a bit of a shoddy buy from Na'Vi, but the pace has been quickened up here. Electronic all the way out by 7 train. in a matter of seconds, and the guys in Ivy following up as well.
And I fear that Heroic may have been baited out. They threw an incendiary, may have assumed that Electronic couldn't push through there, but he's already around green train. He's going to be joined now from a teammate, which will be Edward, who is getting tagged up left, right, and center, somehow still alive with 14. It's not as if Heroic have came through so far unscathed, as the bomb's been planted. Modi and ASTRO both below half of their health. Zeus has been put down, but there's so many angles to watch out for on the recovery onto this site, most of which is, to be fair, on the right-hand side of the site from where Yugi is currently looking. So can stack up. Edward with one. Can he get more? Going to spray wildly through the flashbangs. Not going to get the frag. Wasn't far off, but Yugi will put him down, and now Simple steps up to the plate to deliver. One kill, very nearly a second, but he knows that the other players push towards the site, and the bomb is so close to going down. And that is going to be Na'Vi picking up the round and putting Heroic back into a pretty horrible position in terms of their funds.
Yeah. Once again, it's Yugi, last man standing, surviving another bomb explosion. Na'Vi, every single round they've gotten so far has just been very chaotic. Definite chances for Heroic to bring that back. Edward managing to pick up that first frag on, I think it was either ASTRO or Nico. Moving up through Ivy definitely alleviates a lot of pressure and allows for Na'Vi to have a fighting chance in this. And again, a bit of a wonky buy from Heroic this time around. Zeus kind of expecting Heroic to give in and go for an eco here. It's not the case. Pop flash comes in. Flamey still manages to dodge it.
Yeah, again, I think I just glanced him. Didn't get him fully flashed. I kind of baited Modi into a death.
Yugi, though, playing very forward here. He knows Flamey most likely is locked in. Ooh, Nico with the perfect timing. Finds one frag. Is he able to escape? No. Zeus hunts him down with that MAC-10, but it does halt the push.
Yugi, again, so close to landing these shots through smokes, through walls. May not expect Simple to push. A couple smokes on his way in, so he's not going to be able to get anything just yet. But as soon as that smoke disappears, the headshot will follow. Yugi had a chance, he had a sniff at maybe taking him down. He did rattle off an up shot, but it went awry. And so will Snappy. Simple up to the task. 2 kills for him. ASTRO, Deagle in hand, 1v3. And the bomb is going to get planted on A in just a few moments' time. Just making sure they're covering the angles. Simple with a 3K. And that was a force buy from Heroic, so they are now pretty much screwed.
This was, finally the round that Na'Vi managed to stabilize, surviving with more than one or none as they went around. So they're going to be able to build up a bit of a bank, especially with Heroic having to do a clean eco. Trying to make the most out of that saved op in Yugi's hands. And to be fair, they do pick up a couple of kills, but in the end, Simple comes up big to save Na'Vi.
Again, aggression. No chill. Yeah, you might just have USPs. We do not care. We're going in for the jugular. We are unrelenting in our aggression. And already ASTRO, in a matter of seconds, goes from being surrounded by teammates to all by his lonesome. Billy no mates.
Edward's going to finish it off. So a lot of kills for Edward on that MP7. You can see money reward and the money gain made from that, 6.2K. Question is now whether he decides to upgrade or if he's going for the full-on greed. It seems like he's going to be content with playing with that MP7. We saw that kind of backfire on Navi's end when they kept one of those in their first buy round on Overpass. Heroic, though, no op in the hands of Yugi. Limited utility as well. Madi just on a FAMAS.
So I was kind of curious, Fen, coming into this round, if we would see more of a half buy by Heroic and say, okay, look, this is going to be a pretty shaky buy. We really want an op, we really want more utility.
Yeah.
We're willing to give away this round, but then to have a stronger future, as it were. The problem with this buy is if they lose this, I mean, Na'Vi are already leaping towards that double-digit mark. They'll likely be on 8 rounds plus.
Yeah, especially because at that point, if Heroic figure out, well, we need an op to be active, whenever we have a buy round to actually stand against the pressure of Na'Vi, then you're looking at a double eco. That's really, that is really the issue. So this might be a bit of a sign that they will decide to force up more so than not and actually just sacrifice Yugi in that sense. He's still a capable rifler, so it's not like he's made completely irrelevant, but it does make the job quite a bit harder.
feel like it could also be a knee-jerk reaction to... Yugi's actually done a decent job with the AWP. It's not like he's been awful, he's been whiffing a bunch of shots. He's been landing some nice ones, but it could be a reaction to the fact that Na'Vi have been so explosive and so fast.
Yeah.
We've constantly seen them push outside of A main, get right up in the face of Heroic, where Yugi just can't really have as much impact. So maybe thinking, okay, if we have rifles, we'll fight fire with fire. If they want to get close, fine, let them.
That's definitely the case. And being up close, Madi finds Flamey as he tries to stumble his way out of teammate. As Tag also finds Electronic and Ivy. So 2-man advantage, and this is definitely what Heroic need. And even if they win the round, they need to survive with quite a few members. And they're doing a pretty good job of it so far. Only Simple left with that off, and time is starting to tick down as well. 10 seconds left, and Simple just has to leg it at this point.
The thing about Simple is, I don't think he knows the word retreat.
He seems to be going back in, but he probably expects someone from Heroic to hunt after him, so wants to get into aggressive stance where he kind of dictates the pace of the duel. But no one from Heroic's side are showing any sort of interest, and that makes sense considering the financial state they find themselves in right now. Heroic get a much-needed round and a clean round as well.
Oh yeah, that's done so much good to their funds as well, because now they can get full nades. They still have a little bit of savings in their back pocket, so they can go for another buy in the next round, even if they lose. And what may end up happening is if you have some kind of hyper-aggressive push, they might just try and back off and save so they can get an even better buy. But, I mean, that really was the perfect round as far as Heroic are concerned. And Na'Vi got a lot more success when they actually had full AKs, so it's interesting to see Simple pick up another AWP here. He didn't really... Oh, well, he actually had the AWP from the last round, didn't he?
It doesn't make sense to throw it away.
Just ignore everything I said. Garbage.
In any case, though, Na'Vi setting up for that inner take. And still 2 players holding steady from Heroic here. And they were able to do some decent damage initially on the last inner take. And this time around, though, they just completely overwhelmed. Neither Nico nor Snappy find a single frag. And what you spoke of, you know, Heroic do have the opportunity to potentially just save and hold on to whatever weaponry they have. That's going to be the only choice they can make at this point. But so much time left on the clock, and Na'Vi are going to be aware of this. They have the opportunity to go hunting here, as it will do immense amount of damage to the economy of Heroic. Na'Vi on their end, though, not necessarily too rich for their own good. So they are going out very slowly. Zeus making a lot of noise. Just going to get greeted by the AK of S attack. Yugi as well finds Flamey. So I think at this point that's going to halt the aggression from Na'Vi's, and they realize that they can't really afford to lose more members, especially not the AWP in Simple Sand.
I think both teams will actually be fairly happy if the round just ended right now.
Yeah.
Because as I touched on before, Heroic do have enough to buy up 2 weapons behind this.
Edward's actually going to continue his aggression in here. Flash. Oh, Simple. Oh,
he can get the AWP as well. That's a sick take at the end for Heroic.
That's
Yugi
actually
with his hands on the AWP now.
Big get. Very surprised to see why Simple is the one going in first instead of Edward there. Obviously, the Flash could have played a little bit of a difference in that. But as we mentioned, both teams should have been perfectly fine just ending it right then and there with 3 men surviving on both sides. Instead of Na'Vi just throwing away a lot of money there. They will get a new AWP in the hands of Simple, but still, that's going to cost you.
So now you can remember that point I mentioned about Simple having another AWP.
Exactly.
But hey, what do I know? He's just wrecked Yugi. So the early aggression doesn't pay off. And the AWP that was given across to Yugi has now been taken away again. And it's not in a position that they can get their hands back on. It's just behind where Simple currently is. He tried to peek up box halls.
Again, Na'Vi closing in on that inner bomb site. This time, though, Snap is going to find 1 frag at least. Makes that 2, but the rotation and his teammate on the inner bomb side have gone to the eternal resting place, and Madi's going to follow suit quickly after. So it works out. Simple, even though he lost the AWP in that previous round, makes up for it with the 3K in this one, especially that all-important opener on Yugi. Well, things are going pretty nicely for Na'Vi. 8 rounds on the T side already, sending Heroic back into an awkward situation where they have to eco. So most likely looking at 9, eyeing those double figures. And a much quicker pace really on Na'Vi just in general from what we saw in the 2 first maps.
Very much the case, and Heroic haven't been able to really deal with this. I mean, we saw them play more aggressive on Overpass, but I don't think Trainer is as forgiving as Overpass can be. And Simple, one of the most forward players. Oh, what a shot that is onto Snappy. I mean, it's against an eco, so you can't get too carried away, but there's nothing wrong with how he dispatched of the players there. It's stylish.
And he's getting into his own, starting to feel it. We haven't necessarily seen like the biggest impact rounds from Simple so far in this series, but right now he's definitely showing up. Bringing it to Heroic, and they don't really seem to have an answer as of right now. We'll get an op in Yugi's hands, and a buy coming in with plenty of utility and whatnot. But as you said, we haven't really seen the same kind of aggression coming out of Heroic as we've seen on Overpass. Maybe we could see something more to what they did in their pesto round with Esitag and Snappy pushing aggressively in Ivy to gain some early control. Something to that effect.
I think we've only really seen it when they've been in ecos or just with pistols. Like they played aggressive. Snappy in the same position that Yugi peaked in the last round, and that's the other thing. Yugi's played aggressively like once, and Simple just ate him up. He had no chance to do anything.
Did get away with an opening frag this time around though, thanks to Modi. And Modi's going to follow that up with a frag on Zeus before he gets taken out by Flamey, but Yugi, aforementioned players, right there to return.
Hold on a second though, Vent. It's Simple and Electronic, a tag team duo. They've halved the deficit. It was a 4-on-2, and now it's just Nico and Snappy. Still plenty of time to burn. Need to be wary that that smoke is going to dissipate soon. Nico's gone down as well, and now Snappy's going to push through, and Simple picks up a third. Wouldn't you just know it? Outgunned, outmanned. Still
he knows what he's done. He knows what he's done. I think that's
Smile, a very confident man.
I think that's three Ks in a row from Simple. Madi there opening things up on Edward as he sets up for his smokes. Simple just really coming into his own right now. 10 rounds for Na'Vi. Not the greatest of buys for Heroic. This is looking extremely promising for the side of Na'Vi.
Last round isn't going to yield too much for Heroic. They've tried to harvest all the weapons they can, then it's been a bit of a poor affair. 3 UMPs, Deagle for Mass, only 1 kit, lack of nades. Really hoping for the best, living on a prayer at this point.
Aggressive positioning in Dark Walls at least. Could catch someone off guard. Nico not able to connect his bullets as Zeus shows himself, and that was really one of the frags they really needed, and Simple has just turned on his radar. He knows where everybody's coming from at this point. No way he's getting backstabbed at this point.
I think Nico telegraphed that. I mean, he's been in that same position with the UMP 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
Often in smokes, often trying to lurk around in the shadows, but this time Na'Vi just too fast. Yeah, Simple seems to just have a sixth sense for where Heroic are. Edward with 1, not going to get a second. Really doesn't seem to matter though, because the rest of Na'Vi should have this in the bag. Modi's going to come back with 1, but S-Tag's fallen. And Modi switching to an 8 will be dispatched of 11-4. And Na'Vi about to switch to their CT side.
Yeah, Modi in that situation, kind of left with no choice. He just has to throw down a smoke and hope to do a full-on 10-second defuse in order to win the round. That's obviously not going to work out for him. All right, now Na'Vi just coming out, guns blazing, being able to reset Heroic twice in that first half, obviously doing a whole lot for them. And also winning out that economic battle that they had early on where everybody was force buying left and right. And Simple, obviously, towards the later stages of that half, just really showcasing why he's regarded as one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, for good reason. This time there's going to be no 65 frags and heartbreak and tears. He should be able to push the rest of his team across the finish line this time. And the other thing as well, because this, as you can see right on your screen right now, each of these maps up until this point has been one-sided. Neither team's really came back. There's been no tenacity or grit to make that comeback a reality. So when you see a team with this kind of lead, you just assume that now Na'Vi will move on. They will just get the job done, move across the semi-finals tomorrow.
Yeah, that's kind of been the trend of this best of 3 so far. Hopefully, though, we'll be able to see a break in that. Heroic have an opportunity to mount a bit of a comeback. Limited utility on their end compared to what they usually bust out in their pistol rounds. Only a smoke and a Molotov on S-Tag. Simple immediately going into the duels. Not finding any connections though, just takes 18 points of damage. As the rest of the Heroic squad move out towards Ivy.
Yeah, they know what's coming up against them now, but that's really only half the battle, especially as Edward. Early doors has been put down. Flamey's looking to answer back, and answer back he shall. Not a second time. The turn fire was on point by ASTRO. It's a labored fight, but Modi will get the better of Zeus. And now it's all on Electronic, the newest recruit.
Doesn't have much hope, really, to get anything done here. He could hold on to his diffuse kit and a smoke. That's definitely something you can play off of going into the next round. If you see a force buy, for instance, you don't have to be so pressed for time on the side of Na'Vi, and they do have quite the big cushion to play with here. So no reason to start stressing out.
Yeah, that's, what, $500? Well, sorry, not $500.
$700.
$700 that they have to move through with, so it allows him to bulk up his pistol Kevlar, whatever it is that he so chooses to go for.
No. We could see if we're going to see a similar timid approach, I guess, to their CT side, as we saw from Heroic, or whether or not Na'Vi are actually going to pull out some aggression. A very quick-paced T side on their end, very aggressive, showing no fear whatsoever. We might see some of the same going into their CT side.
So they actually only going for really a P250 alongside Electronic, so he's playing for the longer haul. Zeus by himself on B for the time being.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's a play to get
destroyed. Trying to jump across, but cost him his life. Modi long range with the MAC-10 is pretty optimistic that that's going to stick anything. He actually could come out second best against CZs and Deagles at this range, so he needs to play to his weapons' advantages. Most of his team's done a solid enough job, though, to get them back into this. Flamey ignoring the bullets that are hailing his way. But Snappy might have him on the retreat. It'll get simple. Plucked out by Flamey, who can't retrieve that weapon just yet. As Yugi was watching it intelligently, making sure that no AK escaped in the hands of the CTs. But it will be 11-6, so maybe Heroic. This is the start of something special for them.
Could definitely be the case. And obviously, a lot of it's going to come down to that first buy round to see whether or not Heroic have a fighting chance or not. For now, things are looking up. Edward manages to hold on to his CZ and light Kev, but there's a limit to what he can do all by his lonesome here. See some investment made from the rest of, from the other Na'Vi members. Electronic just getting a single grenade. Flamey getting a ZZ. Simple, obviously, saving. Probably wants to go towards that op eventually. Or at least make sure he has a lot of utility going into the first buy round.
See the shoulder. Well, that's going to be Zeus dead. You can see what he's going for. He's trying to back away in time to free his arms up, but Snappy straight in. One-way traffic with the MAC-10. And two of them just pushing straight into connector.
Na'Vi showing absolutely no interest of being around that area. They've already just gone to the edges of the map here.
Understandable. They want to get away from the MAC-10s where the kill reward comes in. Yep. And the benefit from Heroic that can just trade out to the likes of AWPs and AKs. So you can understand why they've gone for that play, but simple. Greed in that case, not good. He's looking to pick up the weapon from the corpse in connector.
Not going to pan out. But the smart thing from Na'Vi with making that kind of a move is because Heroic is obviously wanting to get the most out of their SMGs as possible. And now you have to run into, you know, unknown territory where Na'Vi could have set up crossfires and whatnot. They already find 2 frags. In the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be that detrimental to the side of Heroic, but still, it's a gain for Na'Vi. And Edward once again manages to hold on to his Kevlar. So that's $650 that he doesn't have to waste going here. That's going to go to extra grenades.
And they also took an AK out of the round as well.
Yeah. It's Flamey making possession of that. Simple. He's going to go to that op. Not going to have any utility. It does get heavy Kevlar, which is kind of surprising going up against the T side. Might be expecting someone from Heroic side to hold on to any of these anti-eco weapons.
Yugi flashing himself back to safety more than anything else, just making sure that none of Na'Vi were going to be on the prowl. That nades just tickles ASTRO. I thought it may actually do quite a bit more. It looked like it landed right on him. Just 18. Both teams pretty slow on their T side. I mean, we did see some explosive strats from Na'Vi outside through A main, but Heroic certainly a little bit slower now that they don't have MAC-10s and they know that Na'Vi have a full assortment of weaponry.
Yeah. Nobody actually dropping down into pop as they put down the Molotov outside to kind of clear out anyone who's playing close. So nothing really gained from using their utility so far on the side of Heroic, but they still have a fair amount of nades to work with here. Seems to reconvene outside of T main here, so it's looking like it's going to be pretty default yard take, unless they want to set it up as a fake. As of right now, assuming that this is going to be the play from the Danes.
Red looking straight down, trying to mitigate any of the flashbangs. And been pretty much uncontested up until this point, where two just rushed straight out. Electronic instantly plucks out Yugi. But Nico is up close with the AK-47, and that's where it can start to reap some serious mayhem. Snappy with one, looking good now with the entries, and Zeus has been mollied out. He can't stop the bomb plant. Time was starting to tick down there for Heroic.
Zeus doesn't have a diffuse kit either, so he might just be better off saving in this kind of situation. You can look at how spread out Heroic are. They've gotten into their afterplant positions. There's no realistic chance of Zeus having any shot at this. So he might stick around seeing if anyone wants to exit out of the bomb site towards him, but as soon as he figures out that's not the case, you should be vacating the premises. And it doesn't do that. Snappy actually picks him off with the off, which is going to gift to Yugi as they respawn. But that's a very promising round from Heroic. Able to deal with that early opener from Edward as well, just the immediate trades and getting out on towards the yard area, not allowing for Na'Vi to have any sort of rotation or set up a proper defense. Snappy there. Doing a lot of lifting. Now it's back to eco territory, pistol territory. Not quite full eco from Na'Vi's end. They've bought up some Kevlars. Quite a few pistols as well.
Oh, Edward.
Sleeping at the wheel.
Bruh. He saw him for a good second or two there before he shot off with the Eagle. So from 11-4 to 11-8. And this is where I feel like Zeus's M4 would have been really useful. Again, I'm a bit confused as to why he went in at the end. Edward's not going to get anything from this round at the very least, but he did see a swarm of terrorists pushing the site, so at the very least it's information. Simple. Taken down by ASTRO. He was looking up there for a few moments and realized he did spot somebody, but Zeus and Flamey now looking to charge their way onto the site. Moddy and Snappy, though, will repel the invasion for the time being. And now Zeus has been spotted, and he's living on borrowed time.
Oh, barely gets Moddy with him to the grave. But again, Heroic slowly coming back into this. Now we're going to see another buy, or another buy coming out of the side of Na'Vi, and this is going to be a really big one. Op coming out on Simple once more. They do have more utility to work with this time around. That's definitely going to be the positive for them.
You can see there highlighted on your screen 5 rounds in a row, so I do wonder when Na'Vi will tap out and call the pause, because so far their CT side has just not been successful whatsoever.
A bit of a different surprise awaiting on the inner bomb side. Instead of Zeus peeking for information, it's going to be Simple with the off here, and that might catch one of the players from Heroic off guard if they choose to move forward. Seems like they're just happy of holding off Pop Dog for now, though. And again, slow approach from Heroic, setting up in that default 2-1-2.
Eerie silence falls upon the battlefield. Just the bouncing of nades to be heard and a pluming of smoke. Early damage certainly favouring Na'Vi. Of course, they have no way of knowing that for certain.
Significant amount of damage done as well. 2 players on half HP. And again, Heroic, they just set up for the same kind of yard take they did in the previous round. Moddy lining up the smokes. Electronic in a very forward position here, and obviously this has not been cleared out. Now, as they drop down potentially, it could cause a bit of issues, but it seems like Heroic wants to take this inside. We'll see what kind of rotation it creates. And there we go, Simple. The surprise we were talking about early in the round, that comes into full effect.
But the good news for Heroic is they at least pick the bomb back up again. The bad news is that Electronic is there to collect.
And that seems like a case of Heroic kind of second-guessing themselves, and right there. Timeout being called by Heroic. I think the initial idea was to have that being an inner push and having S-Attack work as a bit of a lurker. Both of them get tagged out very early on with not really having any impact on the round whatsoever. So they're just kind of stuck in no man's land, and Na'Vi take full advantage. Puts them to 12 rounds, and a much needed one as well. Flamey gathering that second op as well. So we're going to see double ops coming out on the side of Na'Vi. And Heroic, they have to think things through. They will have money to buy here, but maybe they need to change up their approach.
Well, I wonder how much they put into that last round, because up until that point, they had been dominant on their T side. It may just be a case of saying, look, lads, we're a bit unfortunate there. Simple landed a nice shot. We then ran straight into electronic. If anything, maybe speed it up a little bit. They tried a fake to start things off, but Na'Vi didn't really bite on that. So,
yeah,
like, they're a little bit unfortunate in some circumstances.
Yeah, unless Simple misses this shot in that kind of a situation, it's very unlikely that Na'Vi are going to make a full rotation or a big enough rotation to actually give space for S-Attack to do a lot of damage in yard. This time around, though, Simple's back out in yard. Su's all by his lonesome. And Edward is the one playing forward in Pop Dog. Na'Vi changing up positions a little bit.
And of course, Electronic picked himself up 2 kills from this same position, but he wasn't quite as aggressive as Edward, who's looking right up to the heavens. Seeing if anything makes a move. Flash into peak. Vauxhall's clear. Also, you have the benefit of seeing that Zeus is actually on the ramp train.
And we're going to see Simple rotate over as well here. And that's going to be a money nade right there.
That's 100 damage, just split between 2 players. That's exactly 100 damage that he just did. Not bad at all.
The inner push comes in from Heroic.
Simple is in good position to strike, and if they peek him 1 by 1, he will absolutely capitalize on that. There's a third. And although Heroic have been laid down by Simple, they still have Yugi and Snappy. And Snappy's in a good position, but Flamey will shut him out with the second of the 2 ops.
That inner take definitely falls flat for Heroic. And when you saw Envy's playing train yesterday, one of the big differences is they had is whenever they actually moved out on higher, they had pop flashes set for whoever is moving forward more often than not RPK. That would definitely make the job of Simple so much harder. And instead, Simple gets 3 quick frags there and pretty much destroys everything. And yeah, again, the man knows what he's capable of. And that money nade right there planted right between the 2 teammates of Heroic.
That is perfect.
Speaking of perfection, Simple not missing a beat. 3 shots, 3 kills.
Round 1 at that point.
Yeah.
His picks pretty much just put it into the hands of Na'Vi, and it was looking really dodgy at the start of the second half, but now they're making serious ground towards the finish line in this 3rd map. Winner, of course, moves off to the semi-finals. Look for the run boost across. Kind of whiffed, but there's a smoke down anyway, so.
Mission accomplished, gotten over to the other side. All that matters. Electronic once more. Playing aggressively in Pop. Has to temporarily vacate the premises though as that Molotov goes down, but makes his way right back in. Again, slow and steady for Heroic.
2 incendiaries for Na'Vi, plus a smoke in the hands of both Simple and Edward. So they have plenty of stopping power. Smoke's going to be tossed out from Modi towards the A site. And the bomb now traversing through. As this attack pushes out of A main, he has spotted a couple of heads and will deliver onto Edward. And that's going to put Na'Vi on the back foot. They have Simple up in heaven, and he's going to have to deliver some righteous fury, but it's Yugi will make him fall from grace. Na'Vi is struggling. They're trying to keep themselves above water. And Electronic is going to at least give them something to think about from Pop Dog. Very importantly, Flamey's came back with another kill, but now Yugi silenced Pop Dog, leaving Flamey with a huge, almost insurmountable task ahead of him. And I think he knows it.
Reality strikes for Flamey, has to back off, try to hold on to that op. And even with them winning 2 rounds in a row here, economy definitely not in a solid state. Simple and Electronic pretty much the only ones with any bank to speak of. And if you want to do a double op setup, you obviously need to have your money in check. And that's probably what's going through the mind of Na'Vi right now. Still have a bit of a cushion to work with here. But Heroic finding ways to get out onto that yard area. So far, that's pretty much the one place they found success as well. Their inner push just hasn't really amounted to a whole lot.
A statistic for you here, Van, is Simple now is way over 100 kills so far in this event. Combined.
24 already, still lots of rounds to be played.
Of course, 65 last night, just in one of their maps. So he's, I think he's definitely ahead of the pack, it's safe to say, in terms of killing.
Yeah. He's done a pretty alright job for himself. Navi getting enough space and time to post up here. Simple's actually going to get boosted on top of the bomb trains. Going to drop down immediately as the flashes and smokes come through here. Electronic playing forward, not by Pop this time, but E-Box just making his way around the smoke, darting behind enemy lines, finds Nico. And chaos ensues. Yugi finds 2 frags though, so equal man advantage. I say that, but Yugi lightning quick onto Flamey.
Simple and Edward are still alive, however. That could be fleeting if Yugi decides to collect on their lives as well. Has really been a battle of the 2 AWPers in these last few rounds. A 2-on-2. Modi gonna try and move up with his AK, get close to connector, try and establish some kind of control. He may see the head peeking up from heaven. He actually doesn't, and it nearly cost him his life. He was so focused on connector and Simple. The call would have came through. He's low, runs right through with the USP. The bomb dropped out in a position that's going to be rough for Yugi, but it is salvageable. The downside is that time is starting to work against him as well. That smoke is going to buy him up a little bit of wiggle room to push through onto the site with the bomb in hand. And now he's seen a player in heaven and lands the shot on Edward. What the hell was that, Yugi? Who needs a scope?
Oh, he has no idea. Simple as made the long rotation around backlines, but Yugi.
He's like, come on, give me a real challenge here.
Oh, damn. Well, if you had seen the shot that Yugi landed on Edward there, you might have been a little bit more scared, but Simple once again closes out a much needed round for Na'Vi. Yugi doing everything in his power, really, to get Heroic through here. Look at that. Like,
disgusting.
Requires some confidence to go for that kind of a shot as well. And 4K is not enough for Yugi to close it out. And final boss and Simple just proves to be too much. Well, it's desperation time for Heroic. They don't want to let Na'Vi get to map point. And that's what we're seeing, a very, very mixed bag of buy. P250 armor on Madi, AK, and some utility on Yugi's end, but again, this is not a whole lot. Simple spots an arm, tags it up as well. That's Madi down to 3 HP. Weak is there to collect.
Yeah, they're getting so weakened on their pursuit out on Catwalk. They are getting kills, though, at the very least, and the bomb plant will be following. However, it's going to be Electronic round the back. He's pushed in with the MP9. So 2 separate angles now for Heroic to worry about. And as the smokes and flashes start to subside, so do Heroic. Nico, UMP, have to pull off the hero play. Won't be happening on this occasion. 5 match points coming right up.
5 match point, and not the greatest of economy on Heroic again. They're going to get the bomb plant down, so that does give them a bit more buck. A couple of more bucks to spend, but no op in the hands of Yugi. And obviously that's been a vital part for them so far. Yugi, by far the standout performer for the side of Heroic so far. 23 frags into his name, almost equalizing Simple at 27. Yeah, this is a very tough task. Using their final tactical pause here. Or potentially final pause. They still have 2 remaining, but, you know, only have that many rounds you can lose before it's all over.
One of the scariest things for the other teams taking part here now is the Simple just seems to be having so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Every time the camera goes to him, he's having a good laugh, a good giggle.
With the way this game is going for him, like, how could you not have a good time? Just racking up 3K after 3K. Closing out rounds like a star player should.
27 and 14.
Yeah. And even though he's been up against, or up close to those numbers, you know, on Overpass, for instance, getting it on 24, you've definitely felt much more of an impact to what he's done for his team in this this final bout. And now some aggression coming in from Na'Vi here. Edward pushing out towards Ivy. Just posted up here. Nobody really taking down the invitation from Edward here to go head-to-head. They're actually going to back off from Ivy without actually getting any sort of idea of what's going on. This is also a nice little tell for Edward and Na'Vi in general as well. No imminent threats from that point of the map, and Edward's actually going to move forward as well, so he's got full control over this area.
Supreme confidence shown from Simple once again as well. He got mollied out in this identical position and said, screw it, I'm going back. I want that box halls. It's mine. I don't care. Flamey, though, is going to see action. They nearly line up for him, and in actual fact, he does get 2, which is a solid effort. Thought for a second it was going to play hell with him. Zeus will be disappointed he didn't get a kill out of that confrontation. And now it's up in the air with the bomb planted. They do have Simple starting to make a move around the back of the terrorists. He is just perched up on the top of Pop Dog. It's going to be a fight to the death, and it's going to go the way of Moddy. Edward, in the meanwhile, though, is going to equalize the odds. Moddy's only on 7 health, and that Molotov is going to totally take him out of the equation. This allows Edward now to have a 1v1. There's no way Moddy can push through that. He's only got 7 health. Going to tickle the bomb to get out. Snappy into the open. But without a kit, his days are numbered. This round will be going away from Na'Vi. Heroic save 1. They've got 4 more to go if they want to take us to overtime.
A very unlikely turn of events there, especially with Flamey picking up 2 frags immediately off the bat of that execution from Heroic. But they valiantly fight back. Obviously, Muddy getting into the after plant position and Pop Dog does a lot to prevent any sort of backstab from Simple. Now, they've been given the lifeline. Remains to be seen if they're able to take care of it. Off in the hands of Yugi once more, and a very, very staggered by on the side of Na'Vi. Their economy is in tatters.
Zeus got naded and then shot. He is no longer a part of round 27. And in his death, there lays a wake for Heroic to push through onto box halls and take as much control as possible. Aggression, though, shown by both Flamey and Simple. They're looking to make a move.
Might not be in time, though, as the inner defense is getting weakened by the minute. Only Edward left, and he's kind of vacated all the way to the back of the site. You're not going to do a whole lot with the USP from that kind of a range. He's actually, yeah, moving all the way out towards the yard here. And Heroic, they're just taking their time. They don't want to stumble here once they've been given one more chance. They still have tons of utility as well. This is giving time, though, for Simple to move slightly closer, and we know what he can do with that Deagle.
If they aren't careful here, Heroic, they're in danger of giving Simple some free kills, but ASTRO is slightly sensitive to Tingley's like, probably should check behind me.
And pans out well.
The beast himself.
Flamey's going to go for round 2 here, see if he can surprise ASTRO, but ASTRO does have some backup from Snappy. Snappy's going to make quick work of him as well, so that Edward on 30 HP, all-wise lonesome, has picked up the ZZ. We'll actually find a kill for it as well. Now the mission becomes trying to pick up that weapon. It's going to be easier said than done, though. Already trapped in a corner and restroom. Muddy's going to close in on him and end it. It's 12 rounds for Heroic. They're starting to fight back here.
The closest map that we've had in this best of 3 thus far. Continuing to deliver. It will be Na'Vi into a bye. It's not a great one, though. They've got a FAMAS in Electronics' hands.
We'll have enough for an AWP on Simple, though no utility.
There's a timeout called as well. They just want to make sure they manage their money perfectly and put an end to this comeback.
If they want an AWP, it has to be Simple that invests into it on his own, because Zeus is sitting at 4.7, Flamey on 4.650. Well, it's going to be interesting. Still utility to work with on the side of Na'Vi, but Heroic are starting to find gaps in the defense of the Ukrainian-Russian side. Now, they do eye opportunity. Obviously, Na'Vi emptying their bank accounts right now to get this buy in order. So there's still more opportunities for Heroic. If they win this, we're probably looking at going all the way 30 rounds, and Na'Vi having to close it out in the very last moment.
Simple did go for the AWP that you highlighted before. Doesn't mean he has no nades and no kits. There is actually no kits across the entirety of Na'Vi.
Yeah.
Heroic have got to the site multiple times. That could be a worrying trend.
This time around, Zeus all alone on the inner bomb side, deciding to play from higher, though, which is a bit of a change up from previous rounds. But Heroic, once again, just setting up with their default here. Haven't really gotten a whole lot out of their IV pushes up to this point, but that's mainly because they haven't actually chosen to push through. Most of the time, they throw out their nades, make the CT expend their utilities, and then they go back towards outside of teammate instead of for a pretty default yard take. Let's see if that's what they fall back on once again.
Vast difference between the utility that both teams possess. Na'Vi already down to their last few nades.
And this is just very smart play from Heroic. They obviously know that Na'Vi can't have a great economy, so the longer they take to actually move about, the less utility is going to be in the hands of Na'Vi. making their final execute all that more powerful. Electronic in that forward position, though, has created some issues for Heroic in the past. We'll see if it might be able to do the same now.
Flashbang is going to give Electronic's position away. Panic fires. So they know that someone's there. As you'd expect, though, Simple's going to pick up one, and Flamey from the side with two. It could even be a third. Yugi's going to try his best to try and land something through the smoke with the AWP. It won't be happening. Checks the wrong side, but will get bailed out from his CZ. However, it's only him left alive, and Edward will one-tap him and give Na'Vi their victory. It was laboured, it was difficult at times, but they got the job done, and they moved through to the semi-finals.
They really did. And much thanks to that excellent first half of them, 11 rounds in the first half on their T side, really setting them up for success versus Heroic. And we don't get that upset that we talked about initially. It is Na'Vi to make it through to the semi-finals, and off the back of a very impressive last map from Simple.
Very impressive indeed. I mean, he's been impressive pretty much throughout this entire event. I can't think of a single map where he went missing. Maybe you could highlight Overpass there, but I think he was still top fragging for it.
Yeah, he's still top fragging. It's just a matter of what kind of frags he got. Obviously, on train here, we saw him having multiple multi-kills, really, that just solidified rounds for Na'Vi, just set them in a position to win. Either if it's, getting 3 immediate frags, an execution comes out for Heroic, or if it is to close out the round. He was just all over the place, and there was no real answer from Heroic's side. Like, we saw Yugi, making his utmost effort to tame the beast that is Simple, but to no avail.
Has this made you think twice about Na'Vi now as being one of the favorites? Did that put you off a little bit, or do you think they're still right in that position, right in that sweet spot?
I don't think they're in a sweet spot by any means. I still think they have weaknesses. Obviously, we saw a very different Na'Vi today. Also, just to give credit to Heroic, a very different Heroic on Overpass. But they still show weaknesses. There's still room for better teams than Heroic in this tournament to abuse. So I think they're still not, getting any sort of like favorite stamp from me at least.
Tough crowd, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to put in the work and actually get the results before you earn that kind of.
That's true.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. Either way, we do have an interview with Flamey lined up on the stage. So Pala, take us through it.
Thank you, Vince. That is correct. I'm with Flamey. Excited because this is only the second time I've interviewed him. Flamey, how are you feeling straight away coming off that victory?
We're feeling good. We just won and we passed the group stage. The first little step done.
Overall, are you satisfied with the team's performance? It was 3 maps. The first 2 were kind of one-sided in both affairs. Third was maybe a bit closer.
We didn't expect to win with such a big difference on Inferno. It's not the best map. And I think, we just relaxed after first map and didn't focus that much on second. We didn't thought that they will play that aggressive, and they won pretty confident. So we had a good talk after second map, and all worked on train.
Going back to yesterday, you had an epic battle against Gambit. Can I get your perspective on that match?
As I said, Inferno is not our best map, but we should win this game, and 100%. You can't lose the rounds which we lost. It was a lot of 1-on-3, 1-on-2, 2 versus 5. But Gambit is a good team, so they deserved the win.
And so, in your opinion then, why did you guys end up losing that 5 overtime situation? Was it mistakes or other stuff as well?
Yeah, as I said, it was a big mistakes. We were 4 versus 3 when we needed 1 round, and B was taken. So it's kind of hard to lose a round on Inferno when B is taken, but we managed to lose it and lose all game.
Going forward from here, you'll be playing Envious. Firstly, give me your thoughts and opinions on them as a team.
They're a really good team. They play like a year together, I think. And of course, we will try our best to win. And usually, when we played them, we won before. But everything can happen, and so I hope we'll win this.
Yeah, and if anything does happen, there is a particular circumstance where in the final, you could end up playing Gambit again. Would you like to do that, and how do you think that potential final could go?
Of course, I will be very happy if these teams will be in final, and Gambit, of course, they are my friends. And a very good team, and if that happens, that will be an epic final for sure.
Awesome. Igor, would you like to say anything else to everybody watching, the crowd, fans at home?
Thank you everyone who cheered for us, and just thank you. That's it.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for your time, and we will see you tomorrow. Trez, that was an awesome best of 3. It'd be fantastic to get some more of you guys' thoughts.
Well, that's what we're here for, to give you all the thoughts that we have saved up. I know Chad has just got a brain full of thoughts ready to give it to us, but why don't we just go ahead and kick this off with a little bit of drawing brought by Samsung.
We're going to have to really roll this one back, you know, maybe to one of the older models of the Samsung phones. But think back to Inferno. You guys thinking back to Inferno? That was quite a decisive victory coming in. Well, we got stats, we got draw on board, we got everything. But we're back on Inferno here, and this is just a little bit of a play. This is a circle jump out of apps that I want to highlight from Mr. Electronic, opening up an angle. We're going to see Flamey go down early and the number advantage fall in the favor of Heroic. But if we fast forward a little bit, we're going to see a contact play coming on towards Halls. Electronic is the man I want you to focus on here. He's going to do what I call a circle jump eventually out of apps. Now, let me keep going. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Here we go. This is where the action is going to happen. Flash is going to come out. Now, off of this flash, your boy, he's going to circle jump out to quad side. Now, the idea behind this is to draw fire from either a balcony player or a pit player. That's going to give the two guys coming in behind him, Simple and Edward, an idea on where they need to trade. Fortunately, Nico, he doesn't see anything. He's unable to shoot, unable to get anything done. And now with the nades, they're going to know that this section here, there's no one there. There's no bad guys there. They're going to be able to come out. They're going to be able to attack, and they're going to be able to open up more angles as they enter onto this bomb site. So we're going to play her out. Simple's going to come in. He's going to say, good night, Nico. You're dead. Electronic's going to enter onto the site. And based off of that one little move that Electronic's able to do, they're able to clear some angles, clear castle, get a bit of information just off a simple flash, a simple bit of movement. And that's been the drawing board, brought to you by Samsung. Brought to you by my brain, brought to you by D_Inferno and some fantastic plays by Na'Vi.
But, you know, more importantly, Samsung and then your brain. I think in that order is
Samsung is my brain.
Yes, there it is. Full operating capacity. Either way, we've got the statistics here, and the numbers will not lie. You're going to see that again. Simple has come out and put it on the table for you all at home to just... It's just a
He
spec.
slathered him, didn't he? He absolutely gave him the belt. And if I could get Simple in my team, which I don't have one, but if I had one, I'd want me a Simple.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I'd pick Yugi too then, have both of them, you know?
Oh, you want Simple and Yugi?
Yeah, I
You're
want
being
both.
greedy, man.
Yeah, I know. But he's playing one hell of a game as well. Yugi showing up, and once again, as you said, Simple playing Hells Out. I think he ended up on 1.42 rating over a 3-map curse. You know,
Love to
that's
see it.
just world class. Like, world class.
World-class Counter-Strike by Simple. Definitely something where he's the type of player, and he's proven it time and time again, that he can take a game into his own hands. He can come in and say, you know what? Well, I don't really like how this is going. I'll be taking control from here.
Do you want to go map to map? Do you want to dial it back? You want to see how we got here? Or yeah.
Let's go for it, Chad.
All right, Inferno obviously very decisive, 16-5. Flamey saying it's not one of our good maps, but they made it look like one of their good maps with another good T side. Rolling on over to the CT side, took them a little while to close. They got their end. Overpass was more of the shocking display for me. They started slow. You got to think they weren't getting any entries on their T side. I think we're talking 9 rounds in before they got impact. As soon as they had that opening kill, which I believe came in none other than Simple's hands, they were able to convert around, slowly battle back and forth, getting 10 on the board. But it just seemed like exactly what you said. Heroic made the adjustments from that loss that they had earlier in the tournament. And then we got to train, and that's where Simple, once again, he was having a couple of hot under the collar moments. You saw him there on the camera playing up to it, and that's where it did just become his map, going plus 13. Next close on his team, Flamey stepping up. Still want to see more from Electronic, right? I still want this guy to be that third star for this team. Hasn't quite got there yet.
Hasn't quite got there yet. I mean, either way, probably should work on the AD some more. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
A little bit of AD, and by that I'm talking about strafing. And when I talk about strafing, I can only do that if I talk about the Strafe Esports app. That's right, head over to strafe.com and find out exactly what it is I'm talking about, because this app will tell you everything you need to know about the DreamHack ASTRO Winter Open 2017. We're going to be going into our final best of 3 of the day, determining our last semifinalists to be joining the other teams there, and it's going to be Mousesports versus Big. So make sure you're here with us when we come back. But in the meantime, let's find out some more about Strafe.
Grab your gear